Welcome to another 3D comparison video. We're gonna take a look at Solidworks sheet metal design. So this will be the case study part. As you can see within the cut list, we have multiple operations. And at the end, we wanna have this unfolded. So let's get started. I will create a new part. File, new part. And over here, starting from the top plane, we are gonna draw half of that profile because we're gonna make use of the mirror tool in order to have that drawn. So I will roughly create a similar profile, which will be something like this. And afterwards, we're gonna start adding the dimensions. So I'm gonna add over here on the bottom horizontally 90 millimeters. We know that over here for the side, this should be 30. Let me just quickly check with the sketch that I previously had over here. So that shouldn't be 30. As you can see, it should be 60 in order to maintain the proportion of the same part. So let me add over here 60. That means that we're gonna have 30 over here, since this will only be for the half. And afterwards, we're gonna add again 30 over here. Let's see for that length. So I will just quickly go back and forth between those two. So this should be as well 60 in order to have that element a little bit larger. And now at the end, we need to add a coincidence between those two. So I'm gonna right click and make those coincident. Now with that profile defined, I will also do the mirror. So the mirror underneath the sketch, mirror entities, entities to mirror. I want all those to be mirrored around the axis. And now over here I added a corner rectangle over here, and we're gonna see why this hasn't been positioned to be symmetrically. So let me make this only 20. I can also add over here a distance. In this case, I will set it to 50. So we have that distance of 20, over here 30 millimeters, and I will also create two circles over here. I will then select those and have them equal. And since they are equal, if I'm gonna change the radius of one, both of those radius should be updated. And I'm also gonna position those circles to be at 50 millimeters from the edges. So in this case, we're gonna have that distance added. I could have made use of another symmetry to position this over here on the bottom, but I will just roughly position like this. Not roughly, with those exact parameters of 15 millimeters. Afterwards, we're gonna mirror those to the other side. So those two arcs should be mirrored. And this will be the base flange of our case study part. I decided to use a part which will have an edge directly on the symmetry axis, and we're gonna see exactly why, because I wanna show you some case studies. So I'm gonna go to sheet metal and I will define this to be the base flange. I will select the sketch. I can do that over here. And I will go with the default 1.5 millimeter for the thickness. And now, if you wanna add those bands, we're gonna have the possibility to use this sketch band. I will select the top face of the part, and over here I will create a line. It's not important that this line should be coincident with the existing sketch. Let me take a look at that sketch and why exactly is the line disappearing. So I have the line created. Afterwards I will press escape, because that line shouldn't disappear, but my mouse is a little bit buggy. Sometimes it double clicks for no reason, so it's quite an old Rocket mouse that I'm using somewhere close to 12 years now. but it's still hanging on, even though that double click is a little bit annoying. So back to the part. We're gonna use sketch bend, but before I will use that, I will also want to position this where exactly I want the part to be bent. So I will add 10 millimeters on that. Afterwards, with the sketch selected, I will go to sketch bend. And now I need to set over here the fixed part. So we see fixed face. In this case, I know that in the middle, we're going to have the fixed face. That means that this will be positioned at the value that we enter over here. So this will be, should be bent at 45 in this case. And we're going to have this. I'm going to click OK. And now, as we can see underneath sheet metal, we don't have by default the option to add a mirror. We can search for commands over here. I can type in mirror. I can add it over here. If I'm gonna drag and drop this, I will have mirror, and mirror will work, but only under specific conditions over here. So if I'm gonna choose mirror over here, even though I have within my part the plane in the middle, in this case the right plane will be straight the mirroring plane. If I will select that, and over here underneath features to mirror, I would like to have this sketch bend mirrored. I'm gonna see that within sheet metal, so this sheet metal feature cannot be mirrored individually. Please try mirroring a body. Okay, so as we know, within Solidworks we have over here features to mirror, and afterwards we can have bodies to mirror. Therefore I will have this body mirrored. But again, if I will try to click, we're gonna see that to mirror a sheet metal part, please select a face of the sheet metal part as the mirror plane. So that means we can't use planes for mirror within sheet metal design. Therefore, I decided to add this cut directly over here, which will be within the same plane as the right plane. And by selecting that face, I now have the possibility to use mirror under this workbench. So bodies to mirror, I want this. The only drawback is that we are also going to have that cut mirrored as well over here, as we can see, since that will cut the part in half and afterwards mirror everything around that plane. So if I'm going to click OK, we're going to see how that mirror will work. So in this case, it's a little bit buggy. If I will go flatten, we're going to see that this part contains features that cannot be unbent. Therefore, I cannot enable that. And let's take a look at what exactly happened over here and how we can fix that. I will go all the way to mirror 1 by dragging this line over here. And now if I will go previously one step before the mirror, we're gonna see that the mirror will do this. So we're gonna have that flatten. Therefore I will go over here and I have the possibility to specify that the sketch body to be mirrored will be this one. It's the same selection, so nothing should change over here, as you can see. And now within this mirror, we can no longer select features. We can only select bodies. And now, as we can see, this will be the output. Therefore, we cannot apply the mirror over here. But if you're going to take a look at the case study part that I created previously, I only added the mirror at the end. And if you're going to check that, this will mirror only the metal gusset over here. And this should be mirrored as a feature, as you can see over here. So keep that in mind. This is the reason why underneath sheet metal part you don't have mirror over here by default. You can make use of that, but you should use it, let's say, wisely and carefully. Therefore, I will have that mirror deleted. I will just do the next bend. And the main problem within this workbench is that we have a cut list over here, as we can see. And within that cut list, we have initially, we're going to have the base flange, for which we have the outline. Afterwards, we're going to have this sketch bend on the left side. And as well over here, I will draw another line. I will position this to be at 10 millimeters, just like the previous one. And now I will use the same sketch bend, but now it's important where exactly I'm clicking, because if I'm going to click over here, this will become the fixed part and everything will be bent according to that. And we're going to see that the output will look like this. So this is not what I intend for this design. Therefore, I will clear that selection and I will select the inner part. And afterwards, we can add that 45 degrees, which will be from this selection. As we can see, again 45. We don't need to have that flipped. And I'm gonna choose the same default bend center line. If I'm gonna zoom in over here, we're gonna see exactly the difference between those. So we see the sketch with black, we see the preview with yellow, and this is the default bend center line. We're gonna have also material inside, and we're gonna see how this will shift to the left with that thickness of 1.5. We also have material outside, so the difference between this one and material outside, we see it will be slightly offsetted. And we also have bend outside, which will be even further to the right. I will choose a default one in this case, and I will click OK. And afterwards, I'm gonna do another sketch bend over here with another line. As you can see, that mouse didn't want to click, but within the second time it worked. And I will add another 10 millimeter sketch over here. And using the same sketch bend, I will have this bend over here again at 45 degrees. But now I want to change that default radius, so you can easily do that. We see over here it's 0.73 for a thickness of 1.5 using the default values. But I'm gonna add in a radius of 6 in this case. And we're gonna see how that will look. And keep in mind that now I can do that fold and fold. As you can see, I can't click this yet because I have that underneath the line, so I will need to go past that line, and afterwards I can do that flatten. Now, some of the other elements that I added on that design, it will be the metal gusset over here. To position the metal gusset, we need to specify those two faces, and afterwards we're gonna have this offset. In my case, since I created that part previously, the same values will remain over here. So that means an offset of 30. Indent depth, this should be set to 7 because we're also going to have a cutout in the middle. And we don't want to go with the gusset close to that cutout. And we also have the dimension of the indent over here. If we want to, we can also have those added. So I want that radius. Now if I will click OK, we're going to see that inner radius and our outer radius over here. So we have those enabled. I'm going to click OK. Afterwards, we don't have over here a direct fillet, as we can see. So we have corner relief, but this is something different. This will relieve material. But again, we can make use of standard feature, just like we had mirror. I can go to fillet. I can specify those edges that I want to have rounded. In this case, I will go only with 5, and I will click OK. And we're gonna see that if I will have this folded and unfolded, flatten, we're gonna have that radius directly defined within the cut over here. So we have the base flange, but only afterwards we're gonna have the fillet. So this can cause some problems on the manufacturing. Therefore, you can easily embed existing fillets. In this case, this was positioned over there. But for example, for the base flange, I have the possibility to go with sketch fillet, set this to, for example, 5, select the points that I want to have rounded. So I'm going to click yes twice, since there are 2 points for each. And now if I'm going to click on OK, we're going to have that directly embedded. And if you're going to check the cut list, we're going to have that over there. So within the cut list, we have the base flange, which will have those radius embedded within the first profile. Now, if I want to use the mirror, we can use that for the gusset. Because if I'm going to activate the mirror, we're going to have the mirroring face plane. Again, I will have that middle plane, in our case, right plane selection. Afterwards, underneath features to mirror, we know that the gusset is a feature, therefore I will select that. And if I'm going to click OK, we're going to see that for the gusset, the mirror works well. But for other elements, like we saw previously over here with that sketch band, there are some problems over there, since the part has a fixed part and another part that will be angled according to that. And that's why usually you don't use mirror like that. You can use it underneath sketch, you can use it afterwards for other elements, but directly within various jogs or sketch bands that are added to the part, it's not recommended to use that mirror tool. Okay, so let's see, we also had a cutout over here. So again, I can add that directly within the start sketch, so I don't need to make another cutout. So over here we have another circle, 25, and position at 25. And as soon as I will click OK, that will also be trimmed by default, so I don't have to go and do another cut in order to have that profile trimmed away. Okay, so I hope that you enjoyed this content regarding SolidWorks. I know that most of my content is on CATIA, but I will try with my channel to go for multiple software, so I will create a lot of SolidWorks content within the near future, also Fusion, but as well as Blender, Unreal Engine, and Unity. So depending on the viewer, let's say your preferences, a similar video that will be on the same content that you want to will appear over here on the left, and a subscribe button to the right. So thanks for watching, see you in the next video.